Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in. This is Nima Worry at the Word with Joy. How you doing? I hope you're doing great. It's been a while, so I'm here again. Like I said last time, right? It's gonna be as I'm led. Not Tuesdays, not Thursdays, as I'm led. All right. So I hope you'll be blessed today. Thanks for tuning in. If you're brand new to the channel, I'm on here as often as I am able to just discuss Bible scriptures, just inspire my fellow Christians and to be Christians and believers about the truth that's in the Word of God. And I hope hope and pray that you will be blessed as you watch. All right, and please join the channel, subscribe, and click on the notifications bell so you're notified when a new video comes up. And do like it, share, and make comments as well. All right. So thank you so much for joining today. Today we're going to be talking about taught to know war. Taught to know war. I was reading something in Judges and I was just like, oh, what's going on here? And that's always how I feel when I read something. I want to like really dig in and like go, just to check, just to keep going inside, like rabbit hole. You know how like you're on the internet and you click on one thing and you start wondering, oh, I wonder what movie that guy was in. And then you go into another thing and you click, and before you know it, you start wondering yourself, how did I get here? Yeah, like that kind of rabbit hole, but rabbit hole in the Bible, which is not a rabbit hole, but it's a good way to discover. Like start somewhere and just like keep looking and looking and looking. All right, so that's enough of the topic. It'll be taught to know war. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, we're so grateful and thankful because you are here with us. Where two of us are gathered in your name, that you are in our midst. Pray that you be glorified, you be magnified. Your Holy Spirit will speak through me, also to me, and that everyone who hears this word will be inspired, will be edified, will be lifted, because it is light. And where light is, darkness cannot comprehend. Be glorified, Lord, in our lives today and always, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so Judges. I'm going to Judges 3. Judges 3, verses 1 to 6, but I will not read 1 to 6. New King James Version, Judges 3. Now these are the nations which the Lord left, that he might test Israel by them. That is, all who had not known any of the wars in Canaan. This was only so that the generations of the children of Israel might be taught to know war, at least those who had not formerly known it. Namely, 5 lords of the Philistines, all the Canaanites, the Sidonites, and the Hivites who dwelt in Mount Lebanon, from Mount Baal Hermon to the entrance of Hamath, and they were left that he might test Israel by them, to know whether they would obey the commandments of the Lord, which he had commanded their fathers by the hand of Moses. Thus the children of Israel dwelt among the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. And they took their daughters to be their wives, and they gave their daughters to their sons, and they served their gods. All right. So this, of course, is telling us about the fact that, okay, we know that the children of Israel left Egypt, and as we're going, God told them, conquer this land, conquer that land, conquer, and they were doing so, all of that. But then now tells us here that, well, God left some of those lands, some of those like enemies for them, so that he would teach them to know war. I said, wow, what is going on here? Why must that happen? All right, so let's go back. We're going to go back to Joshua, okay, and see, because it didn't really start out like that, but kind of ended like that, and we're going to explain why. Joshua 13. So Joshua 13, 1 to 7 says, now Joseph was old, advanced in years, and the Lord said to him, you are old, advanced in years. God is not politically correct. You're old. And there remains very much land to be possessed. This is the land that yet remains, all the territory of the Philistines and all of the Geshurites from Sihor, from east of Egypt. I'm not going to read everything, but down to, and then it goes to verse 6. All the inhabitants of the mountains from Lebanon as far as the brook of Misrapoth, and all the Sidonians, them I will drive out from before the children of Israel. Only divide it by lot to Israel as an inheritance, as I have commanded you. All right. Now therefore divide this land as an inheritance to the 9 tribes and half the tribe of Manasseh. So it's like he said, look, you're old, the mission is long and far, this journey is far, so we need to kind of like speed things up. And I feel like here God is like being like, look, I want to work in partnership with you. I want to make this thing happen and make it work. So you've done what you could, you tried, but you're old. Let's just be real. You are a man. I am God, Jehovah, mighty man in battle. I will drive out these people for you. And he lists them all. He's like, I'm going to do it. I'll do it. I feel like that's how like God, right? he's all about partnership, like, and for us to cooperate with him so that we can be advanced to that next level, right? Like, he wants us to cooperate with him. He wants us to do our part, and that he will then step in and do his part, right? For instance, like with Abraham had to obey God and leave the land of his fathers for him to be blessed, right? He had to obey that. He had to obey and, sacrifice his son, which he didn't. Thankfully, he didn't have to, so that God will bless him and renew his covenant with him, right? Joseph had to be obedient to God by not sinning against God, even when he was in a foreign land and he got the highest promotion, right? So to think about people who, God is expecting you to do your part, and he's going to swoop in and do like the big heavy lifting part, right? Even our salvation, okay? Romans 10 verse 9. If you believe in your heart, let me see, how does it go? If you declare with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you'll be saved. It's like, oh, God, Jesus Christ already came and died and has brought the salvation for you and for me. But it's not like, yeah, but you have to believe, you have to say, you have to confess, you have to have it in your heart. Like, there's still your own part to do. But God's part is so much bigger. It's so much bigger, so much, yeah. So just keep that in your pocket. Like my pastor always say, put that in your pocket. So put in your pocket, that's his mindset. It was like, I'm ready to like drive these people out. So how come these same people, and if you look at Judges 2, where we came from originally, it's almost like these are the same people. Judges 3, excuse me. These are the same lands and people that God was like, yeah, I'm going to drive them out. What happened? What happened? Why did God not do what he said he was going to do? And I know you know it already. It was disobedience. Disobedience. Let's go to Judges 2, 1-3. Then the angel of the Lord came up from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I led you up from Egypt and brought you to the land of which I swore to your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you, and you will make no covenant with the inhabitants of this land. You shall tear down their altars, but you have not obeyed my voice. Why have you done this? Therefore, I also said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be thorns on your side, and their gods shall be a snare to you. So he's now explaining himself like, you know what? I promised to Joshua that I was going to handle this. This was going to be my portion. But disobedience actually turned the hand of God away from what his intention was. It was just like, there was no way around it. They had to contend with these people, right? It just had to, there was no way like, and I was like, okay, when I wanted to see like, where did he say that they shouldn't do this, right? You have to go all the way back to Deuteronomy. All right, so we're going to go to Deuteronomy verse 12. And so Deuteronomy 12 has a lot of stuff. I'm not going to really go into it. But let's look at verse 3 real quick. Deuteronomy 12 verse 3. Okay, let's start with 2. You shall utterly destroy all the places where the nations which you shall dispossess served their gods. It's like the nations that you are going to possess, you should destroy their gods. On the high mountains and on the hills and under every green tree. So whatever location, go find them, dig them out, destroy. And you shall destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, burn their wooden images with fire. You shall cut down the carved images of their gods and destroy their names from that place. You shall not worship the Lord your God with such things. And actually goes on to say, look, even aside from you destroyed it and you've broken it and you've done all that stuff, you also should go and find a place that God wants you to worship. All right, it says don't worship in that same place. That place is already defiled. And all the nonsense and the abomination that they did, I can't have it around me or you. So just if they were worshiping in this location A, I will tell you where you need to worship even after you've burnt everything, because it doesn't even want like a slither of anything that will defile his presence. All right, so this was very serious. He specifically had said, don't, destroy all these places, destroy all their gods, don't like clean their name from wherever they wrote it, like don't even have any iota of any of this, right, written down anywhere. And I feel like, of course, now, right, we're not waiting for God to say, oh, go to that place and worship or whatever. We are the temple of God's Spirit, right? We're the temple of the Holy Spirit. We're that place that God wants to worship. So you have to be very careful about what you do with yourself, with your body, right? Like Paul was saying, to offer our bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God. So your physical body, your thoughts, like what you're engaging in, what you're spending your time on, what you're speaking, what you're hearing, what you're seeing, all of this is like, if you're not doing it in a way that is acceptable to God, then you are actually obeying or worshiping something else by that. There's no vacuum in the spirit, as we all know. Like, there's nothing like, who knows? No, no, no. If it's not God, then it is the enemy of God. It comes from the God of this world, Satan, right? So whatever it is that you think, like, might be pulling you away from the presence of God, or doesn't allow you to fully, experience like your a real like pursuit towards God. It's like holding you back. It's something that you still hold on to. It's like a secret sin, some kind of thoughts that you're allowed to just pass through your mind, and like, those kind of things. Those are the things that defile us. Those are the things that contaminate the presence of God in our lives. And those are the things that God is saying, cut it off, destroy it, stamp it out, and move. Go and sanctify yourself and move move from that location, right? Move from that thing that is like drawing you away and away from his presence and into something else that is not part of his plan for us, right? Okay. So I'm going to go back to the main. So Judges 2, let's go to Judges 2, verse 20. So it now tells us, right, what happens. It says, then the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, and he said, because this nation has transgressed my covenant, which I commanded their fathers. He didn't even command them, he commanded their fathers, but he still required it of them. It's like, listen, you should have known this, because I told your father, your grandfather. And as long as you hear my voice, I also will no longer drive out from before them any of the nations which Joshua left when he died, so that through them I may test Israel whether they will keep the ways of the Lord to walk in them as their fathers kept them or not. All right. And now that is where it's like, okay, so now we get the reason, like, okay, God, they disobeyed. Now he's going to leave those nations behind so that they will test them. All right. So first of all, I just want to say, I don't like tests. All right. In real life, I'm sure now I'm better because I'm older. But when I was younger, my goodness, tests were like, I always wanted to just finish it. So sometimes I would just, this is like real life story. So one time, I was, when I first came to the US, I was going to go to law school because in Nigeria, I was doing pre-law. I was like, okay, I'll go to law school. I'll do my law exam and all that. So, but I changed my mind. But before I changed my mind about going to law school, I did the LSAT. I took the LSAT. But guys, true story. I think maybe like halfway through while I'm like reading and trying to figure it out, I just told myself, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to take this test anymore. So I started clicking like A, C, B, D. I wasn't even reading the question anymore. That's so bad. Children, don't do this. My children should not do this. So guys, don't do this. And all students out there in the world, give yourself a chance and try and do your best, do your best work and let God bless the rest of it, right? I was just like, click, done. I didn't want to do the test. You see? That's not good. And speaking of tests, right? So to God here is like, okay, I want to test these children. And he said, I want to test them to see whether they will keep the ways of the Lord to walk in them as their fathers kept them or not. So that's the test, right? That's the test. Think of like, now let's talk about LSAT. LSAT is a test that is for people who want to go to law school. There is also MCAT, right? MCAT is a test for medical school, right? There's SAT, right, for children going to college from high school. So every test has what it's the parameters. What are they testing? Who's the group that is being tested? Why? And what's the next step? Because once the point of the test is just to kind of make sure that you understand the basics and maybe even advanced levels of understanding of that subject matter, so you can move on. Like, okay, now move to 3rd grade or move to 5th grade, or now move to college or now move into medical school, move into law school, because you have the basics of what they're requiring for you to get to that next stage. So that's what God was trying to do. Is like, I'm testing you because I want to see if you are going to be able to move into this next phase with me. And can imagine God testing us now. He hasn't changed. The things around our lives, it's like, that thing is still there because like you need to figure out about this test. Like, you need to pass this test. And it's not like, you can do it and be like, well, I did it, but let me in. No, like, until you pass it, until you have scored a grade that is acceptable, you can't move on. So this is what God is doing for them. It's like, I want to test them. Like, I'm going to test them to see if they're going to do anything. And so the name of the test was, I want to see if they're going to obey me. But why? And this is where I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I loved it. So in Judges 3, verse 2, Or let's start from verse 1. These are the nations that which the Lord left, that he might test Israel by them. That is, all who had not known any of the wars in Canaan. I was like, some of you don't know something here. You don't even know what war is. You don't know what fighting is. You don't know what battle is. So he marked them. It's like, this is the population. These ones don't know. They don't know. And then verse 2 says, this was only so that the generations of the children of Israel might be taught to know war. At least those who had not formerly known it. It's like, wow. So here is the purpose. Here is the purpose for the test of, are you going to obey me or not? Is because that he wanted to teach them war. He wanted to teach them war. There were lessons about war that they didn't know, that they were not able to grasp. And so they were making mistakes. They were fumbling. They were, going after other gods. It's like, there is something about war that you need to be taught. And I'm not going to make this a long video, so I'm going to do part 2. But I'm going to leave it here for now, that there are things that are going on in our lives too that God has allowed so that we will be taught how to war. It's like he needs to teach you warfare. Remember David said that he teach me my hands to war, my fingers to battle. Like, God is a man of war. God is a mighty one in battle. He's the host of, he's the captain of the host of the armies of heaven. Like, he's just, like, there's no battle God has ever been involved in that he did not win, right? And we're going to look at that next time. I promise to look at that next time at the battles, because I think we should go into, like, okay, because it says here, they had not known any of the wars in Canaan. Like, what wars were in Canaan? What were they supposed to learn? What were the principles and about the wars? What were the truths that they're supposed to learn that they didn't learn, that they had to, like, keep these people here, these crazy inhabitants that they were not supposed to be working with and living with? Let the nation stay there just so that they can be taught that. All right, so we're going to go into that in next video. So I just want to appreciate everybody for watching. I hope that at least from today's snippet, you can start to consider and ponder, what are the tests that God is putting me through right now? Like, I've not, like, broken through, because there's something I need to learn about war, right? He should reveal to us the things that we need to learn and what we need to know. And ultimately, in the end, right, it's worship to him. In the end, it's that he didn't want the children of Israel to worship any other god, to be ensnared by them. And in the end, that is it, to check our worship, check our tests, and by God's grace, we will win every war and every battle that comes our way. And it's normal. We're supposed to, just Christ said, in this life there will be troubles, there will be tribulations, but have no fear, I have overcome the world. So we already have, like, the end. We're already going to win. We already won. We just have to go through it and look at him. He's able, he's willing, and we are more than conquerors. All right, I didn't want to make it long, so I'm done. God bless you. Thanks for joining today. I don't want to end, of course, without an altar call, in case there's somebody who's watching and like, what is going on here? Look, I did mention that if you confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. If that's you right now, you're like, you know what? I do believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. That's why I'm always watching this show. And I believe that God has risen from the dead. Then yes, you are saved. Just say this prayer after me, just to confess and to say it out loud, because you do have to confess with your mouth. Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray that you have mercy on me. Forgive me of all my sins and my shortcomings. Help me to not be like those who don't trust in you, but to continue to look on you and trust in you. I want to worship you. I want to serve you. I do believe that Jesus Christ is your son. I do believe he died, he came, and you rose him up after 3 days, and now he's resurrected and in heaven. I ask that you have mercy on me, forgive me of all of my sins, and welcome me into your kingdom. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. Simple as that. And remember that God, you've done your part. God will do the rest of, like, the transformation and the change and the update that's going to happen in your life. God will do that, but you've done your own part. So you can be rest assured that this battle for salvation of your soul has been won. All right. So if you did say that prayer, please send me a note at thewordwithjoy@gmail.com. Also put it in the chat so someone can encourage you. And do find a church that does believe in the whole Bible, so you can start to grow and start to learn and build your faith. All right, and for everyone else, God bless you. Have a great time. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll be back because we have to finish. We have to finish this. We're not done. We're not even close to being done. All right, God bless you. Take care. This has been The Word with Joy. My name is Nima Ovori. Bye.